Hello and welcome to Podcast Away. My name is Logan.
And my name is Sam.
And we are your generous hosts. And, Sam, guess what? It is our Halloween-ish special.
Halloween-ish special.
Yeah, unfortunately we might have missed the mark on Halloween. Unfortunately, you, the listener, is not going to miss out on hearing about some scary stories because I prepared the scariest story of them all, Sam. You ready for this?
What's this scary story about?
Society.
Oh boy.
So part of the reason why we also waited to release this episode too is because we're going to talk about Joker.
The marvelous masterpiece that it is.
Yeah, and I wanted to be able to talk spoilers too and have enough time to where whoever wanted to rush out and see it, wouldn't for whatever reason catch this. And
at this point, if you haven't seen it, you deserve to have it spoiled.
Yeah, I think we're past something as big as this release was.
I was gonna say it's already made $1 billion box office. So
yeah, it's made $1 billion fucking dollars, which is crazy. So I think when it comes to discussing the Joker, it's not doing it justice to just go straight into the movie details, because I want to get on record the environment that existed before the movie was created. This movie is the only time I've seen in my entire life where the media was predicting public shootings.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Probably...
They were borderline begging for it to happen. They were asking for it. They were just, trying to egg it on.
For whoever humble listener is listening to this far in the future, I want you to just keep in mind that this did happen. This was a real thing. That media outlets, numerous ones, were predicting a mass shooting. And they never do that. You never see an event coming up where they're like, you better be careful because someone's going to shoot that place up. It's going to happen. It's like almost wishing it into existence.
Exactly.
But despite the media trying to get people hurt at these opening weekends and, the weekends following, it didn't happen, one. Yeah. It didn't happen.
Not once.
And the movie did crazy good. It was super successful. It was the most successful movie of its kind in the superhero franchise.
It's the most successful rated R movie out at the moment.
Yeah, and when it comes to those cape shit movies, it's my favorite one. It's literally my favorite one. So that's the kind of the environment that surrounds the movie before it was even released in theaters. That's the mindset people are going into, because everyone thinks about the guy who shot up the Batman screening with the red hair.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, he was saying he was the Joker. That actually didn't happen. I looked this up. That actually didn't happen. That was a cop said he was trying to be the Joker, but he really didn't have any weird connection to the movie. He just went to shoot it up because it was a super popular movie on opening weekend. Yeah. So there's no Joker connection there. I just want to clarify that. So because I saw some reports and stuff talking about how it happened before, it can happen again, but it didn't happen the first time. He was just a psychopath who happened to have red hair. He didn't look anything like the Joker anyway, but
I was gonna say the Joker has green hair anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The connection there was weak anyway, but just wanted to clarify that.
Ooh, we gotta draw lines.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to, that's the environment that kind of surrounded the movie. So everyone, when I went to see this movie on opening weekend, there was an armed guard there too.
Oh God!
Literally sitting in the theater. It was a fat bald cop's job to sit there and watch the Joker movie over and over again.
Nice.
Now, it would have been funny if one of these guards
snapped.
God forbid, I disavow. It should never happen, and I would never like that. It's bad. But wouldn't it be funny if one of these guards it wouldn't be funny. Wouldn't it be hilarious if one of these guards who had for 2 weeks straight had to sit there and watch the Joker movie over and over again just fucking snapped. It was
just because he had to sit there and watch the same movie over and over again. He just loses his mind and ends up shooting up the entire theater.
He just finally, at first he watched the movie, he resisted it, right? He resisted its message, whatever. Society's not that bad anyway, I still got television and I can drink beer and stuff, it's fine. And then in the movie, just wears him down.
It gets to the end and he's sitting there crying, tears running down his face, he's got the face paint on.
Yeah.
He's fucking mouthing every single word to the movie as it's going on.
Yeah.
Every word that Arthur says, he's mouthing.
Every time Joker shoots someone on screen, he stands up and claps. The movie becomes part of his identity. So that's the fucking environment that existed around this movie. And when's the last time there's been this much this much stigma surrounding a movie that hasn't come out yet. Probably like Ghostbusters 2016, which had like
only because it was all female cast.
Yeah, that was probably the last movie that had, not to get into that fucking shit show, but that's the last movie that had like this much attention and this much of a fucking cloud of controversy surrounding it before even being released in theaters. So, what should we clarify first in regards to this environment that was created for it? Number one, obviously, is that everything that the media was saying about the movie and like what it was like promoting, because they were saying it was like white nationality and white supremacy, and it was like targeting like
trying to promote incel rage.
Yeah, incel rage, which is still fucking surreal seeing that on TV. It's like openly attacking people who can't have sex is such a weird thing to me. Some kind of, we do live in like this weird
we do live in a society.
Yeah, we live in, yeah, exactly. It's so true though. So what I was trying to say was, the things that the media and like people, because people follow the media, were saying about the movie, none of it was true. Yeah. Like, it wasn't a movie signaling to like lonely incels to like rise up and kill women. That wasn't that wasn't the message. It wasn't a pro white supremacist movie. That wasn't the message. It was literally, ironically, a movie about being targeted by everyone more powerful than you and being isolated by that. Which I thought was a nice real life comparison to the movie itself, because the movie was treated like Arthur Fleck in the movie. Like, the movie was treated like the character was in the movie, like an outcast, a point and laugh, don't treat it as, it's dangerous, don't help it, don't give it a chance kind of thing. Ironically.
That movie was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, the movie was great. I loved it. I watched it twice in theaters, but...
As did I.
I just wanted to point out that, like, the real life comparisons, the classic like, does art imitate life or does life imitate art? And the Joker movie kind of imitated life because its existence became the message in the movie as well, which was a weird, super fucking cool juxtaposition that kind of happened where it's like, oh my god, they're the same thing. Okay, so let's start off from the top. Let's just talk about who did that.
Hold up.
Who is that? Oh my god. Yeah, take that. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, talk in the microphone. It's fine.
What's up?
He's on the phone right now. He had not only his ringer on, but he answered the phone. You see, I pay this guy nothing, and this is how he treats me?
You know what?
Absolutely nothing. He gets less than nothing. He technically pays money to be on this show because he wastes his time, and he gets on the phone. And he walks away. He doesn't even let me listen to the conversation. What the fuck, dude? It's rude. You know, right now, I'm kind of feeling like Arthur Fleck. Because I'm just trying to tell my side of the story. And he's just ignoring me. He just answers the phone to society and walks away. And he's still on the phone. I just can't believe the amount of betrayal that exists here. I mean, the professionalism of this show has been betrayed. It's incredible.
You talking shit?
I feel like Caesar being, et tu, Samuel.
You talking shit?
I just knocked over his bottle too. Anyway, so is your phone call good now?
Yeah, I believe so. It was an important phone call about vanilla extract.
Okay, cool, excellent.
And I have my ringer turned off. I really don't know why it ended up going through. Like, you can see it right here. That's on vibrate.
Yeah, it's true. I see it. I can confirm that. I don't know. I was having a bit of a Joker moment there. I apologize. Okay, so anyway. So let's talk about, like, let's break down the movie as, like, from its parts, and then we can talk about, like, the plot, right? So it'd be a little bit easier, because I don't want to talk about just the plot, because there's other things that make a movie. The acting.
Yeah. Incredible.
Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix did a fantastic job.
Walking Firebird.
His unique take on the Joker character, I think, rivals Heath Ledger, because they play two different Joker types, But and I thought
they're both just as good as each other.
Yeah,
different ways,
exactly. I thought he did a fantastic job. The other actors in the movie were good too. It was surprising thinking about it back at the movie that he was on screen, I would say, for over 98% of screen time. Like, he was there. Like, I don't think there's any pivotal moments that happened in the movie where we were not experiencing them with the character, the main character in the movie.
Literally the only scene that comes to mind for me is the scene with the Wayne family whenever they walk into the alley.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I think that's the only scene that doesn't, and he's still, and his essence is still in that scene too.
Like it's still his power is drawing over that, like
Yeah.
influencing the whole thing.
And I think you're right. I'm racking my brain right now. I don't think there was another scene of something important happening that he wasn't in it besides that scene. And even then, I didn't even think that scene was really needed.
Yeah.
But so the acting was phenomenal. Like it was great, right? And it was awesome seeing a good character study of that particular character. The shooting, like the film,
Yes.
the cinematography
Like
was
just the weird angles and close-ups that they would get, like just the close-ups of his like knee shaking and bouncing,
yeah.
or like the 2-second scene of him headbutting the window in the insane asylum.
Yeah.
Excellent. Just I love just that. Just the composition of it is just great.
And I'll say that with a lesser director, it might have been something that's bland. It would have been more bland to watch because the cityscape that he lives in, the tone, like not the tone, that's a bad word. The color palette of the movie is like grays and like dark yellows and greens kind of thing, you know, and like and besides like the neon signs, but everything's like very tone deaf, like very color
Very drab.
saturated, yeah. Everything dark and stuff. And under a lesser director, that might have become boring rather quickly to be like gray.
Yeah.
But he manages to keep the cinematography manages to keep things lively and fresh, even though you're in the world that is exactly not lively and fresh, which was good, which was a good praise for cinematography.
It's a cold, dark Gotham.
Yeah, exactly. The music choice was also really good.
Yes, I think it was very well done. There was not a lot of music, I would say, but where it's placed and what was placed in those spots were fantastic.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think I really have much negative to say about the whole movie.
Yeah, the scene, like the famous scene where like he becomes his true self. He gets on the outfit and he goes on to the Murray show, right? And the music starts playing when he like opens his apartment door and just starts like strutting out, right?
Yeah.
And that music I thought was such a strong choice because like even when I was watching it a second time, I was getting goosebumps watching it on the screen. I'm like, man, this is so awesome. It's like you sit like the first 2/3 of this movie, you sit through like the drab sadness and like the slow progression into just being an awful person, right? The bad character.
Yeah.
Arguably bad character now, I guess is the point of the movie. But it's like such a good payoff, right? So the music choice is good, and I'm sensitive to these things because I'll notice when like music is out of place, it'll take me out of the movie. But the music choice was solid, even for the time period. There was no weird pop music or anything. It was all very time period accurate.
It's not like those weird movies that are supposed to be westerns, but then have like a modern rap song in them.
Yeah, no, it's very
nothing was out of place.
Yeah, it was very time period appropriate, which was good. And it didn't bother me with, the songs being... I wasn't like, damn, this song's old. It's like everything fit very nicely. The movie was majority not music heavy, though. Yeah. And that was a good thing. Even, I would say, the scenes that you would expect there to be music, there's not. And I like that. I think there's some scenes that can be just as powerful without music than if you put music in them. And for example, like the scenes where he first starts killing people, like the self-defense situation on the train where he caps 3 people, the 3 Gotham interns or whatever. Yeah, whatever.
The Wayne Industry
employees. Yeah, and there's no music played during that. I think in fact, if I remember correctly, the music stops when he starts shooting. Yeah. Right? Because like it's that hard cut, and then you hear the gunshot, and you never like see him pull the trigger, right? You only see the people's reactions to it.
You see a dark train flash, blood, another flash.
His head snaps back, and all that. Okay, so what else? We have cinematography, music, acting. The tone of the movie was really good too. The drabness and stuff.
Very, very dark.
If I could summarize the movie's tone, the mood it tries to capture is the feeling of being angry and lashing out and punching something. like putting a hole in the wall, right? And not the aftermath, right? Not realizing the mistake you made, but it's just the movie captures that finite moment of release and channeling your anger. And that one moment of the punch, right?
Yeah, I would say that's a good way to put it.
That's the tone the movie captures. And it's something that the last time I really saw it was like Taxi Driver. And that's such a fun like tone to capture. It's like the I'm gonna lash out and I don't give a fuck what happens. Yeah. Like a super fun tone to experience through a movie. Not much in real life, not very long, but super fun to experience, you know, through a movie and be like, yeah. Okay, so the movie itself, the plot. Let's go over the plot.
Oh boy.
So, without going into every, you know, breakdown scene by scene, Arthur Fleck is a clown who works for like a entertainer business, and he is like a down on his luck kind of guy, right? He lives with his mom. No one respects him. He gets his ass kicked by a bunch of kids in the opening scene of the movie. You know, he's holding a sign that says, you know, everything must go, which is of course like the kind of tone throughout the movie. The sign is accurate for the rest of the movie, right? That it reflects of like everything has to go and all of that. And you watch him be supported in heavy quotations by the people in his life, right? They support him through false endeavors. Like they give him a gun, they give him medicine, they give him hope, false hope, like his mother, because they say like, oh, well, Mr. Wayne and me had an affair, you know, he'll help us, you know, we have to contact him. So all these people, they're giving Arthur what they think is hope, right? So these three people, and you get these like one after the other, and then by the time the climax of the movie happens, he comes to the conclusion these are not actually the people that are helping him in his life, and then he lashes back out at them. So everything in this movie, Sam, everything in this movie is nicely set up too. There's a nice setup and payoff throughout this movie. So when he killed the three guys on the train, he was wearing the clown outfit still, right? So when witnesses saw him, they say, "Oh, no, there's clowns out and about." And when Father Wayne talks about it during his big speech, he's going to run for mayor. That, you know, the people of Gotham, the bad guys, are just a bunch of clowns. So the protesters dress up as clowns. Yeah,
dressing up as clowns,
exactly.
Clown masks and wigs and stuff.
Exactly. And my favorite part about this movie, Sam, is that at the beginning of the movie, he has this dream and these people supporting him, right? But they're actually, like, in reality, dragging him down. They're giving him bad advice. They're making his life worse, right? Yeah. And his dream is to have people laugh and, you know, like him, essentially. To know him. He wants to be the comedian, right? Yeah. But he clearly doesn't have the skills to do it, but he tries, right? And by the end of the movie, he has exactly what he wishes by the beginning of the movie, but it's just like weird, twisted version.
He's got all the attention on him.
And everyone likes him.
Everybody likes him.
Yeah.
But it's not for the reason that he initially wanted.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. It's like, at the beginning of the movie, he has this clear, concise wish on what he wants to do. He has a goal, you know, he has a dream as a character. Yeah. By the end of the movie, his life only gets worse, but when it hits rock bottom, to anyone else's standards, but the Joker, obviously, but when he hits rock bottom, then he achieves his dream. Yeah. Like, he systematically executes every part of every person in his life that was supporting him, in quotations, and it's like shedding this baggage off of him almost.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie was just every single scene, like every scene where he moved on and like would, you know, cut one person out of his life.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
It's just so well done. They all had a totally different power and feel to them. And the first one was his mom, wasn't it?
No, his mom was the last one, I think.
Are you sure?
Maybe. It doesn't matter.
I thought that because his mom went into the hospital because of the cops coming and questioning him after he shot the three dudes or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he went into the hospital, ended up finding out that the letter to Thomas Wayne, ended up going and talking to Thomas Wayne, finding out that, you know, that's not...
Oh, yeah, so no, you're right. Because you're right. Because if he kills his mom in the hospital, then his friends from his job come to visit and check up on him.
Yeah.
That's right. And they're like, we just want to come by and check up on you, make sure you're okay. And he goes, I'm celebrating.
And that's probably my favorite. Yeah, he opens up the door and they're just like, hey, how you doing? We heard your mom died. And he's like, oh, I'm celebrating.
Yeah.
He just got white face paint on, smoking a cigarette. Which, by the way, that movie, if you don't smoke cigarettes, will make you want to smoke a cigarette.
It really does. It really does. So the time period, too, it encourages that kind of behavior as well. It's a very time period-esque action to do. But yeah, that movie makes smoking cigarettes look cool. It makes you want to smoke cigarettes.
Very glorious looking.
Yeah, because he like
Kimmel and I think Kimmel might have gotten a little money in on that.
Because he smokes throughout the whole fucking movie too.
I think almost every scene.
Up until like the very end, but yeah, like literally, like he smokes consistently throughout the movie, and like you could like smell like the set design and like the tone, right? And the setting is so good. Like you can like almost smell it through the TV of like cigarettes and like puke just and trash.
Feels gritty.
Yeah, the grossness and everything. Oh yeah.
But regardless, back to the scene that I was talking about. Whenever his buddies come in to check on him, or quote unquote buddies, that's one of my favorite scenes because he kills the big dude who gave him the gun, right? But the little dude, I don't remember his name. He was like Simon or something like that. But the little dude, he's sitting there cowering in the corner, and the big dude's on the ground after he just like stabbed the absolute hell out of him with some scissors and bashed his head into a wall and shit like that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Oh, don't worry, you can go, buddy." He's just like, you can go. I'm not going to kill you. You were always nice to me.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important scene too, because that's where they distinguish that this Joker is different from the Heath Ledger Joker, right? Because Heath Ledger Joker would have killed both of them because he exists for that chaos, right? But this Joker is more of less chaos, but more righteous revenge. Righteous in heavy quotations. In his mind, it's righteous, right? Yeah. So it's less of like chaos. More. Yeah, thank you. So it's less of like the just killing to kill to create chaos and more of the, well, he wasn't the one who hurt me, so he's the one who gets to live kind of thing. Yeah. And I think and I agree, that was a really pivotal moment as well, having that happen.
Yeah, because it shows that, that, like you were saying, it shows that separation between his Joker and Heath Ledger's Joker. It's a separation because Heath Ledger's Joker was all about chaos, like completely. Yeah. Like it shows that whenever he blows up the hospital. I mean,
or burns the giant pile of cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just all the different things that he does in the movie, like his bodyguard that's right next to him that he shoves his head onto the pencil. Right there. Very chaotic thing. And that's something that I don't think that Arthur Fleck would do.
Yeah. As Joker. And the reason why I like this movie too is because with any other generic, cape shit kind of comic book movie or whatever, the hero has his goals and he achieves his goals with his friends. Arthur starts out surrounded with people, right? And he has his goals. But these people, he cannot be more actually isolated, right? Yeah. And he kills these people who are supporting him. He cuts them out of his life, including his role model, which was Murray on the television program, right? Because he kills him on TV, right? And that was when he finally, he sheds this artificial baggage of these people that he's looked up to or he's relied on that have only been making his life worse, right? Yeah. And of course, in the movie, it's portrayed as like this rising, phoenix of like that, he's becoming into his own. He's spreading his wings. But you, as the audience member, you realize that he's murdering people. Yeah. He's going crazy. Yeah, he's not taking his pills. He's going crazy out there. Yeah, and but the movie, it's portrayed as like he's like shedding his he's shedding the skin. He's becoming who he is, kind of thing. And that's fun, right? It's like the movie is almost shot and portrayed through Arthur's eyes. And at the end of the movie, he's happy. Right? and even though all these terrible things have happened to him, his life arguably has only gotten worse. But he's finally he's happy. And it was just a fun movie. Like it was a super fun movie. And I don't even like superhero movies. But the thing is, when I was watching it, I was forgetting that it was a superhero movie.
Yeah, like honestly.
Like when I was watching it, when I was like, oh wait, I forgot. We're in, Bruce Wayne is a thing and the Wayne family's here and we're in Gotham. Like if the Wayne family wasn't in there, that'd have been great. Maybe they were there, but like they weren't such a pivotal part of the movie. Yeah. They didn't have to like have the scene where they get, the parents get shot or whatever. I know why they did it, obviously, but anyway, it would have been even better. But it was great because it was less of a comic book hero movie kind of thing, or superhero movie, villain, whatever, and more of like a character study. Yeah, because
it was well done. It was like you said, it was well done, even just as a movie. Like it wasn't. It was a good comic book movie, yeah, but like it was a great movie. Mm-hmm. Like it was I just completely forgot, like you said, completely forgot that it was even a comic book movie or based off of comic books at any point until they would reference the Wayne family or talk about it being in Gotham City.
Yeah, and it was great. So I'd recommend you to go see Joker. It's probably been in theaters for a while now. I think it's close to, if not have passed, Infinity War.
I'm not 100% sure. I think Infinity War might still be topped out, but as far as rated R movies go, I believe Joker's made the most money out of any rated R movie that's been released.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
It's the first rated R movie to pass $1 billion.
Yeah, I would say go in there and watch the movie and enjoy it. Have a Joker moment, laugh when he laughs in the theater. Thank the security guard when you walk in, shake his hand, and then sit right behind him, eat your popcorn loudly and drink your soda and slurp the air out of it. And then every time Joker kills someone, stand up and clap.
And Martin Scorsese, if you happen to be listening to this podcast, because I know you are, I dare you to watch The Joker and say that isn't cinema.
We could talk about that. I want to add one more thing to The Joker, though. The best thing about The Joker for me, too, when I went to watch it, it was like opening weekend. I went with some of my friends. And we were enjoying the movie. At the end, we stood up and we clapped. And the rest of the audience was completely dead silent the whole time, right? The whole movie, they were dead silent. At the end, people sit around, they wait to watch the after the end credits, for all these movies, all these comic book movies.
Yeah. And
they got up and left immediately. The place was deserted in 10 minutes, immediately. As soon as the last scene happened, the whole place was empty.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic because I was like, man, these people were horrified by this movie. They were not sure how to react to it.
Yeah, that movie was made to make you feel uncomfortable. There were parts that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I still fucking loved it.
Yeah, and that's the point of it, right? They weren't sure. There were points where you were supposed to laugh, right? And you're supposed to either ironically or dark humor or laugh at genuinely comedic parts. But the rest of the audience, there was no laughter, Sam, the whole time. There was only gasps and exasperated sighs the whole time when the movie was over. That movie, they understood what we feel like as gamers. I'm sorry. We're 20 minutes in. I had to drop it. I had to drop the gamer word.
We're only 20 minutes into this?
Yeah. They finally understood what it feels like to be us, Sam.
To be in a society.
Yeah. To sit in a chair, to sit in a gamer chair instead of being in our shoes. Sit in a gamer chair for an hour and a half or whatever, or 2 hours to
slap on the VR headset. Yeah. And insert yourself into a world.
To put on the smell-o-vision and just be in the world that we exist in. They were horrified, Sam. It was great. The best part of that movie for me was the audience, because their reactions, they were horrified. They didn't know what to do. They had no idea how to react. At the end, Sam, I'm pointing at him. They just didn't get it. They just didn't get it.
God damn it.
And that concludes our Joker talk. That's it. That's done. Okay.
All right. So what's next on the agenda?
Martin Scorsese. You mentioned it. Let's talk about that.
I just wanted to say that if he happens to see the Joker, he needs to. I don't even remember.
So Martin Scorsese, to catch up on the situation, he was quoted with saying that the fad of comic book movies is the equivalent to amusement park rides. That these are not real movies, that you go here and the movie's point is to guarantee more sales for another movie. You go in there and you see the sequel. That's the point of it, right? That it's just an amusement park ride. They're just here to take your money and run, right? And that was what he was saying. And everyone was up in arms. And I think this was probably the equivalent. Do you remember when everyone started hating Rick and Morty? Season 3, episode 2 or whatever.
Yep.
And that was when people started charging at McDonald's and screaming, I'm Pickle Rick on the counter.
Where's my Szechuan sauce, Morty?
Yeah, exactly. And that's when collectively the Rick and Morty fan base as a whole, not necessarily individuals, but as a whole became cringe and everyone started hating them, the intellectual brainophiles that they are. To me, this was the Marvel fan base's equivalent to that, is when they started targeting Scorsese for making fun of their movies. This was their equivalent to that, because what Martin said was exactly correct. But the thing is, the Marvel fans have it wrong. What he was saying was, the movies exist as amusement park rides. You go in, you watch it, and the movie's point is to sell the ticket to the next one, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's up in arms saying oh no, look at this random shot from this movie. Look at this shot, Martin. Isn't this art? Look at this shot. Isn't it great? Even though everything's CGI. All you do is make crime movies, Martin. You don't know anything about film, all that. Here's the thing. Marvel people, it's not bad. Amusement parks are not inherently bad.
No, that's just saying he's just telling you what it is.
If Martin Scorsese told me, like, listen, Mad Max as a film is just meant to be eye candy, I would wholeheartedly agree. I'm like, you are absolutely correct.
That's like saying, like, Godzilla is just for gigantic monster battles. That's exactly what Godzilla is for.
Nobody's saying Godzilla has to be art. No one
That
goes...
being said, Godzilla is art.
Okay, sure. What I'm trying to say here is that him saying that your movies are nothing but amusement park rides that are meant to have fun and sell another ticket is okay. Because he's absolutely correct. You cannot argue with Scorsese. The man is a master at his craft. He's been doing... This is his life's calling to make movies. You cannot out-movie him. Sending him gay screenshots of Guardians of the Galaxy with sad Groot is not going to win him over. He's not going to see this and be like, oh, fuck, I didn't see that.
It's like, damn.
Oh, hang on, this is him smoking a fat cigar.
That's life-changing.
Yeah. Ah, shit, I didn't see that. Groot's looking awfully sad there. You know, he's going to change his mind.
You hear him say, I am Groot?
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to fucking convince Martin Scorsese that Marvel movies are some kind of high art. They're not. And that's not a bad thing. You can enjoy them as lowbrow art. I love lowbrow art. Like Mad Max movies, like the Fury Road. That to me is an equivalent of not high art. It's lowbrow art because it's explosions, it's fun, it's the chainsaw battles, the big shooty guns explosions, and that to me is fantastic. It's fun. It's a different kind of fun. Yeah. If I'm going to see highbrow art, I'll see any Martin Scorsese movie pretty much. But that's the point, right? But they're like up in arms about this, attacking the poor old man. Like, thinking that they're going to change his mind. It's ridiculous. That, to me, the Twitter fucking shitstorm and the in real life shitstorm that happened was the equivalent of Marvel fans jumping on the McDonald's counter and saying, Pickle Rick, where's my Szechuan sauce, Ree? That, to me, that was in my eyes. Oh, what do you think about that?
That's an accurate statement, I would say.
Okay.
Whole thing.
So,
I don't have much more to say about that. I would agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, by this point, it's kind of a tired subject anyway. I just wanted to put that on record because I don't want it to be memory hold, because I wanted to remember that too. Because that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Because that actually happened. That was a real thing. Let's see, what's next on the agenda? Warhammer.
Warhammer. Ooh, that's a new thing for me.
Yeah, so stepping away from movies and getting into board games. Or tabletop games. I brought you to play Warhammer with Sean and I.
Yes, indeed.
So... what'd you think?
I think that it was fantastic. It was a whole lot of fun. The figures look hella cool. There's a lot of detail. They're a little fragile, a little pricey for my taste. Don't know if I could get into it without getting some hella cheap pieces, but I would definitely enjoy to play it some more. It's a fun game. It's fun to strategize, move your characters around, utilize your points to get more pieces, which we didn't really get to touch on much. I built up points, almost got to the point where I could get something and then lost my last troop.
Yeah.
So. And
I'm going to point out that it was, pardon me, it was you and I versus, or sorry, it's you versus me versus Sean. So it was a 1v1v1. It was a free-for-all. And we had an objective to just control a point. I don't think we've talked about Warhammer on the show, have we?
No.
I don't think so. Maybe we have, I don't remember. But basically, to explain what we're talking about, is the Warhammer is, imagine like giant fantasy battles that you partake in with miniatures, like painted miniatures. So you have like 100 miniatures that you play with, basically, and you have big fantasy battles, and there's tons of lore behind it, all different armies and stuff. The lore, I think, is fantastic. There's a Total War game, by the way. Cool. There's a Total War game with Warhammer as a franchise, that's awesome. Which is pretty awesome. It's super cool too. I haven't played it, but I've seen it. So yeah, the lore is always fun too. Because it's cool and wacky. It's been around for forever, so it's super in depth.
Yeah, they've got all sorts of stuff. Like just from what we were playing, like what you were playing as.
Okay, so I was a part of the Chaos Legions, and Chaos is the bad guy faction.
Yeah.
Right. They are the pivotal bad people. They are nothing but bad. And they're basically demons, the Chaos Demons. There's like different demons that have different armies of people that serve allegiance to them. And I apologize for any Warhammer people who are listening, because I only know what I know, so I know it's not as much as it could be. So it's bare bones is what I know. So I was playing as the demon Khorne. So it's Khorn. And his whole shtick is that people... His people were starving. They were like starving farmers or something. They were hungry and they needed food. So they sold their souls and their blood and flesh to Khorne in exchange for food. Right? So it's a play on words.
Yeah.
but all of the people in his army are corn fed, so they're fucking giant. They're muscly fucking behemoths, right? They're like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator, like every single one of them. I love it. Yeah, they're like
they're just all Gears of War characters.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. So they're super corn fed, and they fight for corn because they served allegiance to him in exchange for food. So that's super cool, right? And then you were playing a different chaos
as the I believe they were the hedonists the hedonites of Slaanesh. They were I like
good memory on that.
I like to call them the big titty snake bitches.
Yes.
Because they're from like I think it was the goddess / god of excess.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And so they had lots of spikes, lots of tendrils, lots of snaky bits, lots of horns.
Pleasure and pain.
One titty.
Titty. They were all about excess with pleasure and pain. So they had the one titty, but then like chains and spikes and extra. They have like so much legs and arms and tentacles because they're in excess. Yeah, exactly. So you were playing kind of like the oh gosh, forgot my reference. Any kind of
I was the BDSM big titty snake.
You're like Cleopatra in Dante's Inferno, right? Like you are like the goddess of pleasure and pain.
I had demons climbing out my nipples.
Yeah, exactly. So that was what you were playing. And then Sean was just playing straight up ogres.
Just big old beefy ogres.
Yeah, and they had like all these, their weapons were all like handmade and like made with like jagged pieces of metal. And they were carrying cannons that were shooting junk.
One of them was like holding a Civil War cannon that he just picked up whatever and shoved into it and shot it at people.
Yeah, they had like a pirate's cannon. That they just had like junk, like just random broken weapons that they shoved into it. So we were all playing bad guys, right? And we all fought it out. And our objective was to just control certain points and just collect points was the idea. So it's just like, because if you have your armies just fight to the death, it just takes forever. So it's better if you do objective to keep things moving so everyone's not playing defensively. And you won, Sam. You actually won.
Yeah, I still keep forgetting about that. But
yeah. Not only did you beat me, you beat a champion. Because Sam, or not you're Sam. Because Sean's won tournaments before.
I did. I pulled a fast one. I did.
Yeah, you did. So the thing about Warhammer that's funny too is that you could play it for 30 years and still lose to a first timer because at the end of the day, it's a dice game.
Yeah.
So you could just have shitty rolls and then lose.
It's like D&D meets Magic meets tabletop shit.
Yeah, that's a good description. It's kind of like a mix of all three. It's like Lord of the Rings on steroids.
Yeah. And then there's Warhammer 40K, which is like space stuff.
Yeah.
Same, but space.
So
I'm intrigued with as well.
To talk about some of the lore behind that game too. One of my favorite ones is that the goblins, like the little shitty goblins, they're like in love with mushrooms and like all of their weapons and style and like what they worship is related to mushrooms.
Hell yeah.
So they eat mushrooms, just go fucking crazy, tripping out and stuff.
That is amazing.
Their wizards are like, like classic little goblin wizards, but they have like mushrooms on sticks and stuff because their superpowers that they just eat a ton of mushrooms and then astral project, basically.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's like crazy stuff like that. So it's like crazy fun lore. And of course, there's the classic like dwarves, which are my favorite armies to play because they look awesome. Because they're all like, they kind of have like a Greek kind of vibe to them because they have like the spiked mohawk or like the fur mohawks. Not fur, I'm sorry. Like feather kind of mohawks.
Horsehair,
like horsehair, whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry. And they have, like they have the shields and everything. They're very armored up and they kind of work they work very defensively as like a cohesive unit moving into places. They basically walk in the middle of a battlefield and then square up and stand still and people come at them and they're fucking impenetrable, right? That's their whole deal. And then there's the humans, they're the Empire. And they have like they're not like knights and stuff, but they're like a colonial, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, they have like the 1700s kind of vibe of like the poofy pants and everything and like muskets.
That's weird.
And crossbows. Yeah,
would not have thought of that.
Yeah, all of the good guys in quotes in that game, the humans, the dwarves. I'm not really familiar with the elves. I haven't played as them, but from what I understand, they all play more defensively.
Yeah.
They're kind of a sit on a hill and shoot kind of thing, or wait. Whereas all the chaos and then like the traditional bads, like the goblins and well, not the goblins, but like the ogres and stuff. they're way more aggressive. They're meant to be played more fast-paced. So the good guys, even though I like playing as them because I think they look cool. And the Empire, not so much, but I like the dwarves. I wish they were more aggressive. Apparently, there's a different army build you can have out there that's more aggressive, and they're like naked mohawk dwarves.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah, it's super cool. And it's so fun because like the game is constantly being updated, and sometimes the updates are bad and people hate them, and sometimes they're good and people love them. So it's like this. It's like this community that's been created
because the skills and shit change. Like Sean was saying, like not even a week before, if he would have been playing the same ogres against us, he would have lost almost immediately. But he ended up killing us off before the game was over. I ended up winning because I had the most points, but he ended up killing us all off.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because he had super awesome abilities with
that new edition that came out. He could just charge into us and bash us to death.
Yeah, basically, it's crazy, right? So it's fun, right? It keeps the game more lively too, and it's fun. It's really good because you can focus on it for like 5 hours, right? And at the end of the day, it's like you didn't stare at a screen the whole time, but you still had fun like you played a video game too. Yeah, that's the idea, because you fight with little army and stuff. It's a concept that's like only really dared in video games or like books.
Oh yeah,
like just that vast of a concept, which is fun too. And it's always cool seeing the different armies bashing against each other because they're all super cool and unique. There's a whole fucking thing for painting them, and that's what Sean does. He's the professional painter for them too. So we got to play with his painted armies, which were also super awesome.
That was awesome.
And I would love to get my own, but
they are so damn expensive.
It's an expensive hobby.
It's so damn expensive.
It's
between the figures themselves and the paints. Oh my god,
a couple $100
for one army, for one small army.
Yeah, and also it depends on what army you're going for too.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure some armies are more expensive than others, but yeah, for like
there's some individuals that I saw that were like $150, and they're not any bigger than a one piece out of a piece or a 10-15 piece set that's $150.
But here's the thing to it as well, because there's enough of a community out there that you can go to any fantasy shop and someone's there playing it, right? And you can always get your friends into it if you have multiple armies. But like at the end of the day, it's like a classic hobby. Something that you can invest a ton of time into, a ton of money, and then have something to show for it too. Yeah. And if you want to call it quits, people will buy your stuff.
Oh yeah.
People will buy it. So like there's not a threat of like, oh fuck, if I buy it and then I'm not into it, if I don't like it in 5 years, I'm just stuck with it. No.
Yeah, no, there's always people buying it.
Someone will buy your stuff. So it's just like the classic example of just a good fucking hobby. Literally.
Yeah.
It's just something you can just put endless time in and always have something coming out of it. You can have little fights with it.
Damn it, you're convincing me to... You're pushing me towards the side of wanting to buy some.
I mean, it's an investment, sure, but like, what good hobby isn't? Like, that's the point of a hobby. Like, what the fuck else do we spend our money on? Food, gas, bills, and then what's left over? Savings? No, we don't do that shit.
Warhammer.
Warhammer. Savings? What the fuck's that? You got $50 left in the account after paying bills for the next month? That's right, 50 scratch-off tickets. I'm looking at you,
gotta
boomers.
Get the $1 scratch-offs.
Yeah, 50 $1 scratch-off tickets. 44 McDoubles, including tax. All right, so I think this is a pretty good podcast. I'm gonna start a thing of just reviewing them right after we're done.
I think okay. So this my first point is that I didn't speak very much, but I'm okay with it because sometimes that's just how it be. Sometimes I speak more, sometimes you speak more.
Right, it's true.
All right. So my second point, we talked about the Joker for a good portion of time. That was a great talk. Okay. Yeah, I'm just reviewing the whole thing right now. I'm going to come to the next part. Which, no,
yeah, I'm just going to do a step-by-step review of what you just listened to.
Give you a full summary of the whole episode.
Yeah, it's so true. All right. Well, my name's Logan.
My name's Not Safe.
And this has been Podcast Away. See you later.
Goodbye.
Mwah.
Wait, Logan.
Yes.
I was just thinking of a joke. But you wouldn't get it.
We live in a society, Sam. Wow. Great dance moves, Logan. Thanks. You know who doesn't dance well? Society. Bang!